You're just all over the place. You're meeting guys left and right. Who did you just meet?
So, just met Sam Richard and Mason Wendell, two senior front-end developers from NBC Universal, and they are two of the main leaders in a CSS preprocessor effort called SASS.
Let's find out more.
I'm here at DrupalCon with Mason Wendell and Sam Richard, aka Snugug, and the coding designer. We're here talking about SASS, which is a new programming language, I guess you could say, that we are using on the front end, starting to use on the front end. It's actually thanks to these guys that we learned about it, and thanks to these guys, and of course also Scott Kellum and many others, that we have this language. So what is SASS, gentlemen?
SASS is a preprocessor for writing CSS. It's a tool for authors to create CSS that gives you a lot more functionality. So things like variables, things like functions you don't have when you write normal CSS. SASS gives you those things and a whole lot more.
And it's integral to the design and development process for responsive. Is that right, Sam?
Yes. So one of the things that's really hard with responsive is there's lots and lots and lots of math. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of things that you need to keep track of. And doing so without the use of functions and mix-ins and variables becomes very tedious and very hard very quickly, which is why a lot of people stick to kind of devices for sizes, because those are easy to keep track of. But the best responsive design is to your content and to your design, and SASS makes it easy for you to actually be able to do that.
So these guys got some sort of beef with Photoshop?
Photoshop isn't all the people say it is. And what about Photoshop? Where is Photoshop in all of this?
Photoshop is a lovely tool for manipulating photographs. I wouldn't use it as a canvas for web design because it's not resolution independent. It doesn't. The first thing it asks you is how big is your design? And in responsive, that is one of the first questions that you throw out, because the design is as big as the device that it's on. And if you use Photoshop or any image editor to create that, you're going to find yourself in deep weeds really quickly. So throw out Photoshop and start with sketches, start with prototyping in the browser, and then layer on, build from there. You can create with typography first, with colors first, with different layouts, different sizes and breakpoints, and really build something as complex or more complex than you ever could with Photoshop.
And with SASS, is it easy for designers who don't necessarily understand code and who are, say, beholden to Photoshop? Is SASS something easy for designers to learn?
It can be. The biggest thing that designers need to learn is CSS and HTML. Not necessarily JavaScript, but certainly HTML and CSS. If you are designing for a medium that you don't understand, you're not going to be able to design effectively for that medium. So once you've learned CSS and HTML, it's pretty easy to learn SASS on top of that, especially with the SCSS syntax. And I have found that designers who know HTML and CSS, even somewhat basically, when I go to show them SASS, they jump on it immediately and they love it, because then they have a good way to keep themselves structured, and it comes with a lot of awesome color manipulation tools, and those are fun. You can use it just like Photoshop once you know how.
So, WSYWYG. Sounds like a mouthful. What you see is what you get, editors, right? They got a problem with those too?
Maybe it's not always what you get. And WSYWYG. What do you guys? What's the verdict of WSYWYG and allowing the end users to edit styling in the browser?
I've never seen what I got from a WSYWYG. So most of the time I want people to be able to author in the language that they're trying to communicate in, and not worry so much about the styling as if they were writing a Word document. If they can tell me that they want something to be a header, we can pretty quickly train somebody in a language like Markdown, and that lets them just give a quick little hash flag to say this is a header, this is a paragraph, and so on, and really takes the editor out of the way when you're creating your content anyway, and it becomes a much more fluid experience for us to translate that.
So they shared us a bunch of links. Why are they important?
Links are important because that's where we can learn more about this information.
So let's find out.
Different sizes.
Getting back to SASS, what are some good sites for people who are watching this to check it out?
So the SASS Way is a good blog for beginner and intermediate knowledge on SASS and like blogs on SASS. SAS-lang.com is the language website, and it has all of the references and all of the documentation, and it also has some basic usage. Compass-style.org provides a lot of documentation around the mix-ins and the functions that Compass provides. Both Mason's website, which is thecodingdesigner.com, and my website, snugug.com. We both blog and write about SASS amongst various other things. Those are good resources as well.
I'd throw in two more that are playgrounds, CodePen and SassMeister, and you can Google them, CodePen.io, I think. And those are places where people can throw up their SASS projects, and you can pull apart the code and see how different things are put together.
Now, I heard one thing I think it was at your BOF yesterday, Sam, that Apple is starting to use SASS.
Yes, it was found out yesterday from someone forgetting to turn off debug statements that Apple does in fact use SASS, at least for the Apple Store's CSS, I believe. So we now have definitive proof that Apple A uses SASS and B doesn't quite know how to use SASS.
And in the fall, in October, SassConf, anything you can tell us about that?
There will be a SASS conference in the fall in New York City. Next week we will be making an official announcement as to when and where. It will be early fall. Follow at SassConf or sassconf.com, CONF, to get that announcement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Pretty awesome interview, Nick.
These are awesome guys, and SASS itself is awesome.
Keep on coming back for videos from DrupalCon Portland 2013.